For 3 girls, this house, they say, was their cage.
Their survival story and rescue has gripped the country since it broke last night.
Help me, I'm Amanda Berry. I've been missing for 10 years, and I'm here. I'm free now.
New details coming out just now are shocking.
They were tied up with tape. They were tied up with chains. One of the women who lived here had at least 2 or 3 miscarriages.
The man at the center of so much heartbreak, Ariel Castro,
considered perhaps one of the most evil men in America,
holding those 3 young women captive for a decade.
We're not dealing with someone like any of us.
I'm going to tell you, Amanda got out. And from this point forward, we need the truth.
Police continue to search the now infamous house in Cleveland.
Did you ever punch her? Were they locked in a room? Was she still chained to the pole? Did you try to change their appearance in any way? Did she give birth at the house? Is there anything else buried in the backyard?
I've been sexually sick for many years.
It is a story that has not only captivated Cleveland and Northeast Ohio, but the entire nation. Amanda Berry, Gina DeJesus, and Michelle Knight, they all disappeared from the same general area of Cleveland's west side.
August 2002. Michelle Knight vanishes, last seen at a cousin's house.
Michelle Knight was 21 years old. On her way to downtown Cleveland, she disappeared into thin air.
April 2003. Amanda Berry, 16, disappears the day before her 17th birthday, leaving her job. April 2004. Gina DeJesus, just 14, disappears walking home from middle school.
We felt this can't be real. Like, this can't happen to our family.
Our child is out there.
We obviously didn't believe in coincidences. All 3 went missing within close proximity to each other.
There was some speculation that these cases could possibly be connected.
These were 3 females that disappeared off our streets. There was a sense of fear for one's children. The Cleveland Police Department and the FBI really never gave up on the investigation. There was an all-out effort in running down leads and tips through the years. You had these flyers that were everywhere.
We would hold vigils annually. It would get out in the public's eyes again and say, hey, we still have these missing persons and we're still working these cases. And if there's anything out there that you can provide, we still want to hear from you.
Trying to stay as strong as can be, but with no answers and not a lead, not a clue, not nothing, that's what's hard because you don't know.
10 years had elapsed. Statistics would show that the odds of them being alive were not good.
The FBI and the Cleveland Police, meanwhile, continue to ask for anyone with any information to contact them.
Cleveland 911 police, ambulance to fire.
Hey, check this out. I just came from McDonald's, right? So I'm on my porch eating my little food, right? This broad is trying to break out the house next door to me. He's like, this been kidnapped me and my daughter.
Can you ask her if she needs an ambulance?
You need an ambulance? She needs everything. She's in a panic, bro. She calling y'all. She on another phone.
Cleveland 911.
Hello, please. Help me, I'm Amanda Berry.
Okay, what's going on there?
I've been kidnapped and I've been missing for 10 years, and I'm here. I'm free now.
Okay.
1752, Adam 234, code 1.
23.
I have a call taker on the phone with a female who says her name is Amanda Berry and that she had been kidnapped 10 years ago.
I copy. She's still on the line, or is she hung up?
She still has her on the phone right now.
Okay, I'm on the way right now. I need them now before we get back.
The police are on the way. Who's the guy who went out?
His name is Ariel Castro.
Adam 23, right.
42-5, send us EMS here. We got a female conscious breathing. She's got a young child with us. Adam 2-3, you got a boss coming? This might be for real.
Immediately, I looked at my partner. I don't want to say doubt, but there's been so many prank calls that they've seen Amanda, and it was always false. And as we turned onto Seymour, I could see a young lady standing on the sidewalk holding a child. And she was just thin, she was pale, and she said, "My name is Amanda Berry." She said, "There's 2 other girls in the house." We made sure she was safe, and then we started charging towards the house.
Oh. There might be others in the house.
They about to get his.
2 officers went down in the basement. 2 officers went upstairs.
We started climbing the stairs. I look over to the left-hand side. There was a door open. It looked like a bedroom with a mattress on the floor. And then I see a head pop out around the door jamb. And she jumps on me, and she's yelling in my face, "You saved us, you saved us." "My name is Michelle Knight. I've been here for 11 years. You saved us, you saved us."
I just ran and said, "Never let me go. Please don't let me go." And the guy said, "You're safe. You're safe with me. You're safe. Is there anybody else here?" I said, "Yes."
Out of the corner of my eye, I saw someone else come out of the room, real hesitant, very afraid. She was very thin, very pale. And I asked her name, and she said, "My name is Georgina De Jesus."
Adam 23 radio.
Go ahead.
We found them. We found them.
Amanda told officers that Ariel Castro had went to his mother's house and he was driving a blue Mazda.
As soon as that information was obtained, it was sent out as an all points to be on the lookout for this vehicle and this individual. Within minutes, they found Castro. Uniformed police car made a traffic stop of the vehicle and took him to the Cleveland Police Department.
There was Amanda Berry, there was Gina De Jesus, there was Michelle Knight, but they had with them a 6-year-old child. And the police find out through their interviews that this child was born in the house, and the father was their captor, Ariel Castro.
We learned that Castro was physically, sexually, and psychologically abusive toward all 3 of the women. Gina was 14 years old, so she was a child when she was abducted. Amanda Berry was 16 years old at the time she disappeared. She had indicated that she had been raped repeatedly by Castro during her time in the house. The first time that he sexually assaulted Amanda, he put duct tape around her wrists and ankles and stuffed a sock in her mouth, and then he put a motorcycle helmet on her head and carried her down into the basement where he chained her up to a pole. Michelle said that she had been, in fact, pregnant in the house, and that Castro would try to end those pregnancies through starvation, only drinking tea, and through punching in the stomach. We're still trying to determine exactly what they went through and what happened, but it became clear that it was pretty horrific.
Federal and local authorities have been in and out of the house all evening, piecing together the secrets inside.
This house was specifically set up to keep somebody from getting out of it.
It's kind of like a makeshift prison. The doors had locks on them, so they could only be opened up from the outside.
There was holes drilled into the doors. where he would pass food while the doors were locked.
In the bedrooms, they found heavy steel chains. They were rusted. These chains were attached to radiators.
Additionally, he had makeshift alarms on the doors so that way he'd be alerted if anyone tried to get out.
We really tried to get as much information on Ariel Castro as possible. We learned that Ariel Castro was a 52-year-old male that was a former school bus driver. He had 4 children. He was separated from their mother. Over the years, there were reports that involved allegations of physical abuse and domestic violence.
FBI and police investigators in hazmat suits returned to Castro's house overnight, removing more evidence.
Now authorities can only hold Castro for a certain amount of time without charging them. Investigators have until about 11 o'clock tonight to file those charges.
I felt a lot of weight going into that interview. This had been something that local law enforcement had lived for 10 years. You want to do a good job for the victims that were involved in this case. You know, you want to do a good job for their families. You only have one chance to get it right. And ultimately, it was important for us to understand exactly what took place in that house.
There's a lot we want to talk to you about.
This case was obviously gaining a lot of media traction. It was being broadcast not just locally, but nationally and internationally as well. But we really wanted to get the truth, and we wanted to hear it from him, his version out of his mouth in his own words.
There's a lot we want to talk to you about. There's a lot that's transpired over the last 24 hours. We've executed a search warrant at your house. We've spoke to the girls in this case, and now is what we want to hear from you. We want to hear your side of the story and what happened. There's a lot we know, and I'll be honest with you, there's a lot we don't know. We're trying to iron everything out and find out what happened. You know, most importantly, we want to find out the truth.
During the interview with Castro, we planned on being very non-confrontational, non-judgmental.
You try to hold back your emotions, whether it's anger, disbelief, sadness. It is difficult, but it's the right thing to do.
My job is a collector of fact. My job is to sit there and listen to whatever it is that person's going to say and present those facts to a prosecutor. But he could have stopped the interview at any time. So it was very important to keep Castro talking during this interview.
And I appreciate the fact that you're willing to talk to us today about, you know, what's happened over the last 8 to 12 years. I've lived this for the last 8 to 10 years, and we have, you know, as a city, as a law enforcement community, as a community that kind of came together with this thing, and these girls went missing, and it was traumatic for everybody involved. What I'd like to do is start with the first girl that was at your house. Michelle, do you know her last name?
Knight.
Did she tell you how old she was when you got her?
She must have been like maybe 20.
20? Do you remember when you first met her?
No, but it was at Family Dollar on Clark Avenue. I think I overheard her talk to someone that she had to go to an appointment.
Okay.
I said, "Hey, how you doing? I hear that you have to get somewhere. Can I take you there?" She says, "Okay." She got in much. I'm just so screwed up in my mind. That's why I'm in this big mess. Anybody in their right mind wouldn't do something like this.
So the two of you leave Family Dollar. Tell me what happened after that.
Drove around a little bit. And I asked her, it's okay if we stop at the house.
When you come home with Michelle, she voluntarily comes in the house. She say, "Hey, mind if we stop in the house?" She goes in.
Yeah, I didn't force her.
Okay. At that point, did she say, "I want to leave. I've had enough. I want to leave now. I want to go"?
I don't recall. I do know that she didn't put up a fight. I tied her to a pole with some ties, those plastic ties.
The zip ties for... Was that the first
and then
day?
I put a chain around her too.
Okay.
So she broke the ties, but she couldn't get out of the chain.
I had asked if Michelle wanted to leave right away, and he said no. Then why was it necessary to use zip ties or restrain her? I truly think that he convinced himself that Michelle wanted to be there. It wasn't accurate, but in his own mind, he thought it was.
Okay.
And then I went to sleep over Lillian's. I had a girlfriend.
You had a girlfriend at the time?
She wasn't living there.
At that time, it was just you and Michelle at the house. How long did you date Lillian?
Around 2 years. I couldn't juggle both of them, so I broke it off with Lillian.
Did Lillian ever meet Michelle?
No. It was secretive.
It was secretive?
Yeah, but one time me and Lillian went to the backyard. She seen that I had a TV on in the upstairs room.
Okay.
And she says, why is that? Do you have a TV on up there? And my heart started beating. I was like, okay, she's probably catching on or something.
It was a close call?
Yeah.
How would you keep Michelle from, not screaming if Lillian was over there? Or how?
Okay. I just told her to be quiet, whenever Lillian did come in the house.
You told Michelle to be quiet?
Yes, and she did.
And Michelle was staying upstairs at that time, or? Because you said there was a TV on upstairs.
Yeah, that was for her to watch.
How did you keep Michelle in that room? Like if you left? Weren't you afraid that she may try and leave if you had to go to work or something like that?
I locked the door. Oh, wait. Oh, I think I tied a chain on her ankle.
As he's telling us how he kept Michelle, it was very matter of fact.
I had the chains in the garage and chained her ankle to the bed.
It was as if this was the norm, which I found disturbing. Obviously, internally, not externally, I didn't want to show any emotion towards him to say, how could you do that? I didn't want to lose him out of the gate.
Did it ever come a point in your time that you decided that you may want to have sexual relations with her?
That was the whole intention.
That was the whole intention of why you took her? Why did you feel it was necessary to tie a chain around her ankle?
Because I've been sexually sick for many years.
I have taken a girl, I'm holding her against her will, with restraints, and my intentions were to sexually assault her. His answer to that question is a death blow.
Every day when I wake up in that house, I'm wondering what's gonna happen next. And it was just a crazy emotional roller coaster. He had got a puppy for me, so one day he left my chain unlocked. I don't know if it was on purpose, but I took that opportunity to run. I grabbed the puppy, I walked down the stairs. That's when he jumps from behind the corner. He threw me to the ground. He proceeded to pick up the puppy and broke his neck in front of me.
When you began having relations with her, sexual relations, was she still chained to the pole, or was her hands still bound?
No. She was loose.
Did she fight you at that point?
None of them did.
They didn't try and... Did they...
No, it was consensual.
He can say that, but at the end of the day, they were not free to leave that house. They couldn't grab their jacket and walk out the front door. Instead of confronting him with that and saying, "Are you sure that this was consensual?" I just let him talk.
It was consensual.
Consensual?
Afraid for their safety, but...
The more he talked, he was setting himself up for more charges at the end of the day.
But I had been in the house.
She
complied with everything.
Did it ever come a point that Michelle became pregnant?
I I really don't understand. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Did she ever come to you and say, I'm pregnant, or whenever you had relations, or talk to her, she said, I'm pregnant, or nothing like that?
Obviously, he wasn't being truthful. During the initial interview, Michelle said that she had been, in fact, pregnant in the house. Michelle said that she was starved by him and physically abused and made to do physical exercise in an effort to terminate that pregnancy.
Is there any reason why Michelle would say that she indicated to you that she was pregnant and you didn't feed her? Tried to starve her?
No, she suggested that. She says, if you only give me tea.
So it was her idea to not eat in hopes of aborting that pregnancy.
Yes.
Were you ever physically abusive to her other than the sex?
No.
Did you ever punch her?
No.
Did you ever slap her?
Shoved her.
Shoved her?
Yeah.
Okay. What would she do that would make you want to shove her?
I guess it was in a playful way, you know.
It wasn't in a, I'm mad at you?
More like a controlling thing, just to get a point across. You know?
Okay.
We're making progress, but yet when it was time for him to completely own up to things, he had an issue of sharing the details, the finer details of some of the things that took place in the house. We wanted to make sure that he admitted to certain elements of the crime for all three victims that were involved in this case.
How soon after having Michelle did you come in contact with Amanda Berry?
I would say within a year.
Did you know how old Amanda was when you took her?
She was just turning 17.
How did you come in contact with Amanda?
Well, I had my daughter in the van, and I noticed Amanda smiling towards us. And then I dropped my daughter off, pulled out of the driveway. As I'm driving, I had my window down. She was on the sidewalk walking to her house, and I said, hey, how you doing? I'm going that way, something like that. Would you like a ride? She said yes. She said yes because my daughter was in the van when I dropped her off, and she thought that it was someone she knew. That's why she accepted the ride.
Oh, okay.
But when she got in the van, she looked and she didn't see my daughter.
Oh, okay, because you had dropped her off.
Mm-hmm. So I found it strange that, you know, right then and there she didn't try to, you know, wait a minute, you know, I don't know you.
Okay, then what happened?
We continued north on 110th. She didn't have a problem with, you know, being in the van, and I mean, we just passed her street.
Was there a story you told her, or?
Yeah, I don't recall, but I think I said something to the effect that my daughter is in the house. But I guess I tricked her into my daughter's here, you know, so.
Come on in.
Yeah, come on in so you can meet her, you know.
So you didn't forcibly remove her from the car and take her into your house?
Because if I would have done that, you know, the neighbors would have probably done something, you know. So, I took her cell phone.
Did you ever use that cell phone?
Yes. I called her mom.
What'd you say to her mom?
I think I said something that I have her daughter and that she's my wife. No.
Okay.
I'm selfish, you know. Selfish and cold-blooded.
When you get Amanda back to your house, you make that phone call, then you take the battery out. Now Michelle's already at the house. What happens then?
I took her to the master bedroom. I chained her to the steam radiator on her ankle.
How soon after you had her did you engage in sexual activity with her?
I don't recall. It could have been maybe the same day or the next day. I don't recall. I know it wasn't, you know, long.
When you chained her by the
consensual.
After I had talked to Michelle and the other victims and heard how horrible it was for them, people would just never believe that any type of sex that took place in that house was consensual.
I knew at that point he was either delusional or just minimizing what took place there.
How often would you say that you had sexual relations?
Whenever we felt like it.
Was it unprotected sex?
Unprotected.
So she had one ankle tied to the radiator, and then she was in bed with you. How soon after getting Amanda did you come in contact with Gina?
That I don't recall, but I think it was maybe within a year or two. I was looking for my daughter after school. As I passed on Lorraine Avenue, I noticed both of them walking.
Your daughter?
And
Gina, okay. Did Gina tell you how old she was when you first took her?
Thinking right around 14.
So you see the two girls walking together.
I guess Gina started walking towards her house. But my daughter started walking back the other way, west. I did something very cold-blooded to my daughter. As I'm heading east on Lorraine, I passed up my daughter to get to Gina because I was attracted to Gina because she was showing her cleavage, and I was just sexually attracted to that.
At what point do you decide to say, I'm going to try and pick her up?
When I noticed that she was walking alone.
The daughter he's referring to was one of his children that he had with his common-law wife. He mentioned that, I did something very bad that day. I passed my own daughter to get to Gina. Passing your daughter versus kidnapping somebody are two different things. And in his mind, taking somebody is not as bad as passing my own daughter on the street.
What happens then?
Then I rolled my passenger window down and I asked her, "Hey, how you doing? Have you seen my daughter?" Because I knew that they were together.
Uh-huh.
And she said, "Yeah, she went that way." So I said, "Can you help me find her?" And she got in the Jeep.
And what happened then?
I just kept going east on Lorraine. I wanted to take her
to your house? Is that what you ultimately did that day?
Yes.
Did you restrain Gina with chains also?
Yes.
I'm assuming that sexual activity took place with Gina too.
Maybe within the first day.
First day, maybe?
No, second day.
Second day? Did Gina ever try to fend you off or hit you or get you away from her when some of the sexual stuff started taking place?
Mm-hmm.
She fought back against you?
Not fought, but she would just, signal that, she didn't want it.
What do you mean by signal that she didn't want it?
Well, I would try to, I would try to touch her, and she would, to make push my hand away and stuff like that.
We've been talking about sex as being consensual this entire time, so these were great admissions to be used later in trial.
At this point, we were able to get him to admit to all three kidnappings and abductions, among other sexual offenses that took place in the house, in his own words, telling us what he did.
Who would you say that you had more sexual relationships with out of these three girls?
Amanda.
Amanda? How soon after you have Amanda does she get pregnant?
I don't know.
How old's your daughter?
She's 6 years old now.
She's 6? How did that delivery take place? Did she give birth at the house?
Yes, in the master bedroom.
In the master bedroom?
She just went into labor and the water broke there.
Okay, the water broke. Did at any point did you feel like, hey, I don't know if I can do this. I might want to take Amanda and drop her off at the hospital so she can have the baby. Did that ever cross your mind? Or you felt pretty
No, I knew the baby was coming, so I right away thought of a swimming pool that I had there. One of those plastic swimming pools. I took it upstairs and put it on the bed, and I told her, get in there, deliver the baby that way.
There's been a lot of frustration and a lot of pain as the details come out about how these 3 women lived in this house there. They were tied up with chains. They were tied up with tape. Police confirmed today the 6-year-old child is Amanda Berry's.
Did you ever take her to the doctor?
No.
Okay, so she never had any checkups or anything like that?
No.
What about immunizations, shots?
Nothing.
I was amazed that a child was born in that house.
It was hard to believe what they went through with the delivery of the baby.
That was all done under, in duress, in captivity. They had to rely on themselves. They had to rely on their own courage to survive that.
Who cut the cord?
I think I did.
What did you do with the placenta and
in the freezer?
Did the baby ever need medication?
She has a cavity. You can actually see the swelling in the outside.
Why is there a crucifix buried in your backyard?
Oh, that was my Chihuahua. Got mauled by my bigger dog. They're both deceased.
You bury dogs in your backyard?
Yeah, there's maybe 2 or 3.
Did you ever see any of the girls deliver any type of small fetus, like a small baby or anything like that? Is there anything else buried in the backyard?
No. Oh, if you're trying to get if I'm a serial killer, no, I'm not.
Okay. I don't think you are.
No, because my thing is sexual. I'm a sexual predator. I know that.
I was shocked, I'll be honest with you, that he referred to himself as that. No one in that room ever referred to him as that, but he actually had given himself that own title. So he, in essence, was admitting at that point he knew what he did was wrong.
Why do you say you're a sexual predator?
Because they say if you do it once and you continue to do it, you're a predator. I kept doing it, over and over, keeping them there and having sex with them.
Do you feel that you kept the girls against their will?
Yes.
In your mind?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever come to a point that you thought about going out and getting another girl?
No, but I would see girls out there that I would look at.
Be attracted to?
Yeah.
Over the last 11 to 12 years, did you ever do anything to kind of mask the noise at your house?
Yeah, I would turn the radio on.
When you left the house at times, did you leave the radio or the TV on then?
Radio always, usually always. And that was on a higher level when I left the house.
Okay. So, the day this all happens, which is yesterday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, you leave the house at what time?
Roughly, I would say 3 o'clock maybe. I went to my mother's to wash my car.
Where were the girls in the house at that time? Were they locked in a room?
Yes.
Was it a normal day?
I left. I was feeling so hurt for my daughter.
Why?
Because she's so little, and I just felt so bad that every time I would go, I locked the door. She started asking me, "Daddy, can you not lock the door?" And I said, "Okay." So I would close the door but not lock it and go downstairs and sleep. So yesterday, I know I let my guard down. I went to my mother's because usually, always when I know that I'm leaving, I go upstairs and lock the door. But yesterday, I left the door open, and I guess that's how she got it.
I wanted to show you, last night during the search warrant, they found this letter. At the top it says, confession and details. First of all, I mean, is this your handwriting? Did you write this letter?
Yes.
Okay. Did you take any of this writing from a book or anything?
No, that was
like
totally from me.
Totally from you. The stuff that you wrote in here, is this truthful?
Yes, that's not a lie.
And you explain in the first page about how you were a victim as a child. Who sexually abused you?
It was a neighborhood friend in Puerto Rico. 4 or 5 years old.
Why did you write this letter?
Because in case something ever happened to me, I wanted you guys to see that I'm a victim.
Ariel Castro's a sociopath. He thinks of himself, he thinks of his desires, and he has no feelings for anybody else. And when he's caught, the first thing he wants to do is look at me. I'm the victim. When really the victims are the survivors and what they had to go through.
He did feel sorry for himself, and that I think the realization that this is over, as much as I think he felt relieved, I think that also brought, now I have to answer for what I did.
All right, we're gonna take you back. We'll take
Ariel Castro was a very dangerous person. He was able to lure 3 girls using some type of a ruse into his home. He was able to keep these women, basically in prison for 10 years.
After this interview was done, we had a very strong case moving forward.
52-year-old Ariel Castro covered his face as he walked through the courthouse, charged with holding 3 women captive for roughly a decade.
This was the most high-profile case I've ever worked, ever will work. I felt relieved about everything we had accomplished in there.
The Ohio women, free after years in captivity, began returning home today.
Back up! Stop! Back up! Just want to say we are so happy to have Amanda and her daughter home. I want to thank the public and the media for their support.
Her mother, Lawana Miller, held out hope Amanda was alive. Lawana passed away in 2006 before knowing the truth about what happened to Amanda.
Lawana just went through something that no mother should have ever had to gone through. It destroyed her, and that's what killed her.
That was one of the hardest things Amanda had to cope with, my mom not being there when she came home.
Lee, talk about throwing the book at someone. Check this out. This is the new indictment against Ariel Castro. It is 576 pages long, and it is the largest indictment in Cuyahoga County in at least 30 years.
Grand jury returned an indictment of 977 counts, rape charges and kidnapping charges, and aggravated murder charge for the unlawful termination of pregnancy, and other charges as well that took into account what happened to the 4 victims in Castro's prison.
One of his victims had a chance to confront her tormentor in a packed Cleveland courtroom.
I spent 11 years in hell. 11 years. Now your hell is just beginning.
A month into his life sentence, Ariel Castro managed to hang himself with a bedsheet while in protective custody.
He's a coward. He can't handle 30 days in captivity, whereas the survivors handled not only a decade in captivity, but the assaults and the torture that he inflicted upon them.
He wanted to just use people as his playthings. And with people like him walking around, you'll never be safe. Good riddance. I'm glad he's gone.
The survivors, they were deprived of, a lot of life experiences, and now to emerge a decade later, there's a lot of holes that have to be filled in their lives, and it is heartening to see that they have transitioned, they have moved on, and they have thrived.
We have a lot of different containments set up for summer. This one's Faith, and that one is Hope. They just came to me not too long ago.
She's tremendous with animals. She has found her calling.
Come here, baby. I know. You always want attention.
When you think you've had a bad day, when you think about what she's gone through, you really haven't had a bad day. So as much as she helps them, they help her.
That one right there, that's the one who was stabbed 3 times in the head.
Animals have a sense of who's good and who's bad, but when they're abused that bad, they are confused. It's just like with a human, when they come home from a traumatic experience like I didn't know who to trust. They're in defense mode all the time.
Rascal, don't be afraid.
In order to break down those walls, you have to be kind, patient, loving, understanding.
You're okay, buddy.
The greatest gift is giving them a forever home and a second chance in life.
You're good. You're good.
We call this room the bullpen. This is where the media comes to meet with families. The Cleveland Family Center for Missing Children and Adults was established about 5 years ago. Gina and I were the co-founders, and we wanted to really be a place for families that are searching for their missing loved ones. Hey, Sharice, this is Sylvia. So we did get another anonymous donor. Gina always says you have to have hope. If nothing else, you have to have hope. And that's what we bring to the table. That's what Gina brings to the table, hope.
Amanda, Gina, and Michelle, they are no longer victims, they're survivors. And the things that these 3 ladies are doing is a life-changing thing. Being on Fox 8 for Amanda, doing the missing segment, is a big part of her life.
I'm Amanda Berry. Let's bring the missing back home where they belong.
She enjoys knowing that she's doing a part to put these missing kids out there, helping these parents bring these children home.
The American Red Cross of Greater Cleveland here has selected you as a recipient of the Red Cross of Greater Cleveland Hero Awards.
Every day to her is precious. Every day she gets to see the sun, feel the rain, the air. She never lets you forget that that is an amazing feeling. So every day for Amanda is a blessing.